And I'm very pleased to welcome. I don't know. It's the fourth session which Ukti has been, kind enough to do for us. And Ukti has been a very dear friend, a colleague, and a mentor as well to me, as well as to many others who are on this call today. Ukti is an Indian optometrist who is currently based in the United States, currently working with Topcon. She has done his bachelor's as well as a master's in optometry, plus an MBA to cover her scope of areas of expertise in the field what she's doing. She has a lot of experience in clinical optometry as well as in telemedicine and teleoptometry. Won several awards, but I think this is something which is we are very proud that she's actually been awarded the TIA Award of Excellence for the industry influencer by the Women in Optometry, and she is going to receive this award I think in a couple of days, just ahead of the academy meeting, which is happening in this week. So, welcome, Mukti. Thank you so much for joining us today on this very early Sunday morning to spend time with us and talking to us about the influence or the use of artificial intelligence into clinical practice. So, over to you, Mukti.
Thank you so much, Fakhruddin. First of all, it's always a pleasure to come back. This feels home. So I'm always waiting for more opportunities to come back and talk to everyone and share my little bit of knowledge and experience with this group of people. So thank you so much for having me here. But let's dive directly into the topic, which I'm very excited about. And so I want to talk about visualizing tomorrow, which is evolving trends in vision care with AI. And the fact AI is now become like one of the most commonest thing and routinely used stuff in our lives. So it's going to be a fun conversation and chat where I want to share how we are going to see the intersection of vision care and AI. Throughout the session, if you have any questions, please save them for the end. But I also have a few poll questions throughout the discussion, throughout the webinar. So please send in your response as well. All right. A quick disclosure. Please note, whatever I'm sharing is purely based on my research and my knowledge. I do not mean to endorse any product, organization, or a company. And all information is based only as of October 8th because everything is evolving so rapidly. So I just want to make sure that you're aware that it is only based on all the information gathered by me today. If things might have changed tomorrow, then just wanted to give you a quick disclosure there. So I really would want everyone to kind of step back and think of what we are looking at when we are doing vision care or eye care and how can we make a difference. So I like this quote that I really kind of Googled, of course, or rather I would say I used the help of generative AI assistant to come up and help me with this quote, which was so relatable. Is imagine a future where AI isn't just a technological marvel. I know there might be many who are like all these superhero movie fans and we've seen the latest technology, but don't think of AI which is just something as a Marvel Studio animated version, but it is something which is your vigilant partner in safeguarding our most precious sense, which we're all proud to protect, is our vision. So the image next to this quote is actually something that we are able to see today, and we're able to imagine things beyond just eye care that we kind of have learned and talked about. And when I say just eye care, I know that eye care itself is too vast, but now with these technologies and technologies that are evolving, we can learn so much about our entire body just through our eyes. So that's why I say beyond just eye care. And let's start talking about it, keeping this in mind. And before I go ahead with more details, I would like to have a first poll is, have you used ChatGPT? And the reason I say ChatGPT is because it's like one of the most common ones. But please let me know if you've used any generative AI tools.
Okay, so I have launched the
Yes.
poll, and this is just to know that whether you have used ChatGPT or any other artificial intelligence or generative AI tools.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have almost like a 50-50 kind of thing. Half of the attendees have actually used it, and
Nice.
the other half have probably not gotten a chance yet to use it. Yeah.
Perfect. So this is very interesting. I'm so glad to have a perfectly balanced audience where half of you have used ChatGPT. So I'm sure many of things might be relatable to you guys. But for those who haven't used it, I highly recommend try it out. It's a free tool that you can use, not just ChatGPT, but any generative AI tools that will be that where you'll experience the power of what AI is and why we're talking so much about it. With that, I would like to launch the next poll for those, because we have more than 50% of the audience, right, who has used this generative AI tool. I want to understand how frequently do you use it?
All right. So the poll is up. So this is just to know what is the frequency of you using these AI tools. Are you using it quite often, occasionally, rarely, or yeah, we had people who have not used it, half of them. So that will be under the never used.
Yeah,
Okay, that's pretty much it. So we have people who have occasionally used it at this point of time, majority of them,
yeah.
and some of them have used it quite often as well. Yeah.
I like the people who said quite often, but and I would like to also learn some of your experiences in the chat. So feel free to drop in some comments that I can look into it after the session. But it would be nice to have more interaction throughout the session. But for those who have tried it but they don't use it that often, or those who have never used any of the generative AI tools, highly recommend go try it out. It is just fun, and you'll know why. And as fun it is, there are many things that you'll also have to kind of understand. And I think this session will help you understand the interesting part of it and how you can implement it in healthcare or eye care. And why we are talking about AI, and why we are being so focused on this fact that we need to start learning and talking about AI. The fact is there's tons of growth happening in this space. If you can look at this latest chart growth, and I have a link as well where you can go and read the entire report. But the generative AI in healthcare market is going to be hitting 21,740 million USD by 2032. At the rate at this which this is growing, it is incredible. And trust me, all big players, being in United States, I can tell you this, all big players from Google to Facebook to Amazon, to like any IBM, to any company you talk about, everyone and anyone are investing and talking about AI, and specifically in healthcare, because there's so much that can be done, and there are a lot of benefits of having AI in healthcare, as well as there are a lot of challenges that still needs to be addressed. So, if you used, say, ChatGPT or some other generative AI tool, you might feel, oh, this is great, but there's a lot of limitations which are still there. And that's why with every limitation comes a lot of opportunity for all of us to explore and see what we can do by adding some AI tool, either building it or utilizing it, feeding it some quality data, so that we are able to contribute towards this uh, growing market. So one thing that I wanted to kind of highlight and quickly talk about is an overview of what does this brain of AI include. And I recently read something which was really interesting. They term AI as a brain in a box. And it basically is, this is the brain in a box, explore it, use it as much as you can, right? Similar to how we are using our brain, they're also considering AI have its own independent brain. And there are several pieces to it. And this is like a very good summary of what it all includes, and I'll kind of quickly go over what each of it means. NLP, or natural language processing, it basically means that any language, right? Say, for example, in eye care or healthcare, our documentations or our notes, like our patient summary notes or patients' complaints, patients' documentations in chart, once you add that, AI can understand it. So it can understand a natural conversation, and it can help in sentiment analysis. It can help in making sense of what we're trying to talk in that notes, and it can also help you with, say, with diagnosis or probable predictions, and how the patient is feeling, how's the sentiment of the patient. So that's why whatever notes you make, just like human, when you read it, you can understand this could be the condition or this could be the emotion of the patient. AI can also predict and understand that. So that's natural language processing. CRM automation is basically customer relationship management automation. So, a lot of things when it comes to connecting with your patients or talking to them, building loyalty, building, helping with scheduling, helping with any, customer service processes, it you can actually automate it with AI, because AI has all these components that you can see, which is constantly evolving and making it super powerful. Algorithm, of course, that's the core of AI. The intent detection. So when I say intent detection, it can actually understand what you're trying to do, why you're trying to do. And I'll try to do a quick demo at the end of the presentation if time permits. But for those who haven't tried, go try it out yourself. But for those who have tried it, they would know. You can actually say, if I'm saying I'm feeling sad, write a sad poem for me. It will actually write it. It will understand your intent, and it will kind of generate the response. Not just, it's not like a question answer. It will understand your question. It will also understand the intent. So it's just not a sad poem, but it can say, like, I'm feeling sad. Can you write a poem for me? Or I am having a patient who is visually challenged. Can you tell me how should I convey that message if a patient is sad about it? So it can actually understand the intent and the context of what you're trying to talk about, and based on that, it will give you the responses. Deep learning or machine learning, they are little, and neural networks, they're all a little bit correlated. It basically means that with constant information that you're feeding, it will start learning, because it's not something, it doesn't have the brain of its own. It's something that is constantly evolving and learning. So it will learn based on your responses. It will learn based on your data that is provided to the machine, and it will constantly evolve and learn, just like, say, you're training a kid. It gets trained gradually at a very high rate as well at this point. Automation is definitely a core part of AI, and though we were all fascinated by the fact that we would like robots or things that can automatically manage things. Well, robotic process can also be automated. So there are many things which can be not just robotic, like done by a machine, but it can also be automated within the machine. So it can just understand and follow without you clicking or taking any action. So this overall sums up the core of AI, the AI that is available today. So there's definitely a lot that is happening. And as I had mentioned in my disclaimer as well, this is a constantly evolving space. So there could be like 10 other things that will come up within 6 months. So keep an eye out, but start learning and understanding what these things are, like intent detection, sentiment analysis, natural language processing, CRM. These things needs to be like quite common for you to know, just because when you are reviewing or assessing or using any AI tool, you should be able to understand what is going behind this, just so that it will also help you understand challenges or limitations, as well as its advantages of using that particular tool. Now, talking about applications of AI in healthcare. So, as I said, there are like tons and tons of applications, and this again is a great summary of how or what it can do. Now, though I'm saying AI in healthcare, trust me, this relates to eye care as well because we are part of the same industry. To break it down, the first and one of the very interesting and part of AI which has been thoroughly explored right now is diagnosis and treatment. So when you talk about diagnosis, you still, disclaimer, you still need a human to kind of review the results. I'm not saying that it will do like self diagnosis and it will self treat, but it is basically how it is known as clinical decision support system, which basically will help you with the decision making. Say, for example, you are asking a friend, or I would ask Fakrudin, who is an expert in contact lenses, while I am not an expert in contact lenses, right? But I am sitting in front of the patient. Now, instead of reaching out to Fakrudin at midnight or 3 a.m., though he'll always respond to my calls and messages, but I could have a support system which can help me uh, respond or give me like a quick turnaround of the information based on literature, based on what they've learned about the patient, based upon what that demographic is going through. So based upon all these information, AI decision support tools can help me give a better and more informed decision, or make help me make more informed decision to support and treat a patient. Similarly, symptom analyzer, and I think this is a great tool. It already does exist, and I'll also try to do a demo at the end, where instead of just asking Dr. Google, with generative AI, as I had mentioned earlier, right, it can actually predict natural language. You can actually have a conversation with AI tools similar to talking to a doctor. So it will actually ask, like, what's your age? What's your gender? What are your symptoms? Based on your symptoms, if you say you have redness, it will ask, do you have itching? Do you have irritation? So it will have these conversations to check for your symptoms and then help narrow down what could be the probable condition. So it will predict what are your top three conditions that you could be suffering and what could be possible treatment. So instead of just Googling and, freaking out, oh, it might be cancer or it might be something vision threatening, it will help you understand what are the top three conditions based on your symptom. And you can use that tool in your practice, especially say when you're not around during your off hours. These symptom checker can help you collect all the information from the patient, because the patient is now talking to your AI tool, but that chat or that symptom information is available for you. It can tell you these are the three conditions that I think the patient is suffering from, and then it will help you start from like a narrowed down list. You can verify and start treating. So it basically works as your additional assistant or like a support staff. Imagine how cool it would be once you graduate, you already have an assistant with you. But of course, you are the decision maker, so you have to know your information, your science, your knowledge really well, because it is just an assistive tool. It is not a replacement tool. Uh, and based on that, as I mentioned, it can also help you with like making more effective treatment plan, because it can also give you reminders of like, hey, probably check out on this condition or check out on this probability based on the demographic or the age. So it might be a rare condition where you might not be quite familiar, or you might forget, because life can be busy and you don't see all conditions each day. But with AI assistant with you, it can help you in those crunch moments, so you don't have to call your friends at 3 a.m., but make sure you reach out to them once they are available. A few other things that I wanted to touch upon and highlight are workflow optimization. I'm sure we're all somewhere tired of documenting, and it is a lengthy process. It takes a lot of your time. Imagine if you could just talk while imagine you have an AI tool which can take notes while you're talking to the patient, and it can actually document things for you and make your workflow so much more optimized, because then all you have to do is review those chart details and finalize it instead of talking to the patient, explaining everything, going back to the chart and tracking everything again. So it can help you save at least 10 minutes per patient, which will definitely make your patient flow more optimized. It will make you more efficient. Similarly, there are like predictive modeling, which can also help you better understand. Ideally, we go with the fact that, we should see certain patients 6 monthly, 3 monthly, monthly, yearly, but it can give you more predictive analysis for individual patients. So there could be situations based on all the information and a lot of literature which is available online. It can actually help combine, which is humanly impossible at this stage at the rate which AIs or algorithms can do. So it can help you understand, like for that particular patient, it might be better to see them every month versus another patient with same condition but has better demographic information or better health conditions, and you can probably see them every 2 months. Or it can help you monitor according to individual patient and have more customized, more personalized treatment plan based on these predictive models. Again, it can also have matching engines or say computer vision, which will help with analyzing the images, which is also being done in like screenings for not just diabetic retinopathy, which I know is like the most common one, but for every other many other conditions as well. It can also be used for research purposes, which I think is very interesting because it can help you with uh, analyzing all the data. I know sometimes analyzing data could be challenging. You might be a great researcher, but you might not be a good analyzer when it comes to data, and you might need some assistance or help. Well, AI could be your virtual assistant who can work for you, quickly help you with analyzing the data and also give you some interpretation and predictions. But of course, ultimately, it has to be your overview as well to it before finalizing anything. And there are precision medicines where, as I mentioned, right, so it can not just look into the data that you provide in terms of the patient demographic, patient information of what they're feeling, how they're feeling, but it can also tell you from based on their genetics, based on overall information they have for that community or for that culture. It can give you a lot more information, which can also help with any genomics and treatment plans there. And of course, mobile apps, everybody wears some form of wearable devices these days, and wearable devices are already collecting a lot of data. And imagine if that data can be made more useful. I'm sure you're aware about there are tags with patients with diabetes attached on their body for constant monitoring of their glucose, right? That's a great tool and device. Now, if that can help you understand how frequently should they come in and check for their diabetic retinopathy or vision, uh, based on the fluctuations on their diabetes through that app, right? So there are apps which help manage chronic diseases, and it can be very useful for even say conditions like glaucoma or AMDs or dry eye. In that case, if we could have some technology, some wearable devices that can constantly monitor and give you insights to help better manage that patient. So definitely AI has tons and tons and tons of use cases, as you can see. And I want to understand for those who have used ChatGPT, if we can launch the poll number 3, what have you used it for? Have you used it for some academic use? Have you used it for clinical use of documentation? Uh, have you used it for screening? Or have you seen anything used for screening? For research assistance, like as I mentioned, like analyzing the data. And if there's anything else, please drop in the comment section so we can discuss and talk about it as well.
Majority of them have used it for research and academic use is what I see, about 29 to
Yes.
24%. And a couple of them have also used it for screening and documentation. Somebody
That
has used it to plan vacations, it seems on the chat. So that's a different use of AI. That's great.
I'll
Thank
take
you for
that as
adding
well.
that
Yes,
in.
please. Feel free to share and drop in. Like, I would like to learn more details about when you say academic use. Did you use it for writing some essays or like some case reports, some abstracts? Did you use it when you say clinical use for documentation or clinical use for screening? If you can share a little more, please drop in the information in the chat. I think it will be very interesting for everyone to learn and understand how you are using AI today and what more can we do with it. So I would love to hear more about these things. um, Thank you
Yeah,
so much for sharing, how you have used AI.
yeah, the answers are pouring up on the chats. People have used it for coding websites, HTML coding, social media marketing, blog writing, assignment writing. So there are various activities which are happening using the AI tools. Yeah, keep them coming, and we can always look at it at the end as well.
Yes, absolutely. But yes, definitely, I think this is a great use of AI tool, and thank you all for using it. I think that's wonderful. Now, I think one quick thing that I wanted to highlight here is in 2018, and this is a video which I've shared a couple of times. Um, in 2018, Google had announced and they had talked about predictive AI using eye scans, right? And it actually shared that it can do so much more beyond just diabetic retinopathy. They were talking about cardiovascular conditions, they were talking about age, they were talking about your health, and overall, you can do so much more from that eye scan. We already knew about it. We are already doing that every single day. There are so many times where we have diagnosed people with tumors, we have diagnosed people with um, blood pressures and even diabetes just by looking at a retinal scan. We have diagnosed people with cholesterols, right? So we know what is happening in our body just through those scans, which is one of the only way to look into a live tissue. We are all aware about that. But of course, with AI, they are now making it available and accessible to many more, not just to eye care practitioners, and help the patient overall. That was 2018. 2023, we already have companies which has FDA approved solutions which can tell you what your current age is versus what your bio age is. Talking about bio age, it definitely takes the scan of the eye, and that's all it needs to run and give predictive analysis and tell you where you land in terms of your bio age. How are you doing with your health overall? If you can see this report right here, it has like bio age marker, and it will tell you that whether you are on the green side, so you're doing like, say you might be 30, but your age or your health overall based on your retinal scan, you look 27. So you are younger, your body or your health is doing much better. Or you might be 30, but your aging process is for 35. So you need to start having better lifestyle. You need to start work taking care of your health. And all that is already available in like 5 years. And trust me, at the rate at which AI has been now uh, become the center of healthcare, it's not going to take 5 years for more changes to come and more trends to come. And the reason I wanted to also highlight and talk about it is this is eye care, this is healthcare, and nobody knows eye care better than all of us. So we need to start thinking every time we look at AI and eye care, not just eyes and eye conditions. It can be so much more because we are going to be the center of the healthcare system because we can understand everything what's happening in heart, in kidney, in blood vessels, in like brain, just through our scans, just through our analysis. We run so many more tests compared to other doctors. If you see, like if you go to a general practitioner versus if you go to an eye care practitioner, we have like 10 to 15 tests that we do every time a patient comes in for a comprehensive eye exam. So we have so much of data and it can help us predict so many things, not just in eye care, but also in healthcare. And that's why it's important to start looking at all the information we collect in terms of data and how we can use data to make more sense and add more value in providing healthcare for all our patients. I rightly mentioned, eye care industry needs to be at the forefront of this. We should be the one who are driving it, not just following it. So that's why I would want to kind of share what all we can do and what all we should start doing in terms of making sure we are able to contribute and be part of this AI change or evolving trends in AI. So the first thing I would say, as half of the audience have not used any generative or AI tools, so I would highly recommend start using. And how you can use it? Of course, you can use for your academic purposes, like, can you make, and I feel it is very interesting on how you use it. The more you talk, the more better the response could be. For example, you can say, this is the patient's diagnosis. I want to write a letter to a patient talking about what care they need to do. Can you write it in a patient? Can you write it in a way where it can be more human for the patient versus like more academic or more formal? You can actually type that, and AI or Chat GPT can give you responses like, "Hey, this will make it more user friendly." Or you can also say, "This is what I said to a patient. How can I improve my communication so that you can have more sentiments and more human touch versus like more dry conversation if you're struggling with conversing with your patients, or if you want to make your written communication better with the patient, it will so that's something that you should try, and it is a free tool. Having said that, try to use a paid version of these tools, because many a times you need to understand, when you use free tools, everybody is sharing data, right? There is no it is not updated as the paid version. The paid version will have like all the latest information, and all the AI tools are only reliable based on the data that is being shared. I can write 1,000 times in the chat, like, say, diabetes does not cause any vision loss. If I share that information or input to AI 1 million times, it will start saying, "Oh yeah, vision problems are not caused due to diabetes," right? So it can be faked, it can be tweaked. So be mindful of it every time you're using it. So make your own analysis, but start using it to make your, it could be your patient experience better. Start using it to understand, how is it really making sense when you're giving them some symptoms? Is AI able to predict what the conditions could be? Start testing AI, and trust me, there are situations, and we were talking with one of my friend, where they're like, I told you chat with AI like you're chatting with your friend, and you're like, "Hey, this is incorrect." You can actually tell them, and they'll apologize to you that, "Sorry, I didn't understand," or, "Sorry, I gave you a wrong answer initially." So it's going to be a fun to start using AI in different format. It could also be used for creating social media posts, for patient education, for promoting some of your content. So start using some form of AI tool. Also assess gaps and opportunities. As I had mentioned, like, it can be used for digital intake form. So I know you would want the patient to type it in, but it could also be like conversational through virtual assistants. As I mentioned about symptom checker, something similar can also be like, it could be your virtual assistant, which is AI based, and it will ask questions to the patient, collecting all the information that you need in an intake form, instead of like a boring form which the patient has to go and fill it in, right? So you can also use it in that format. Start adding yourself into the screening programs, and see how AI models are currently predicting these mild to moderate to severe diabetic retinopathy, BioAge, AMDs. There are All they do is they need a scan of your fundus image, and of course it has to be a compatible camera image. Only then it will have a higher accuracy level of the predictions that it is showing, whether it is mild to moderate, whether there are cotton wool spots, whether there are hemorrhages. It can actually mark those areas for you as well. So start looking out for those screening programs, and see One part of the screening program that we are all used to is, taking a scan. But the second part of that screening program is making sure that you run analysis or AI analysis. And there are image analysis tools available. So when we talk about Chat GPT, right, it is text to text. So you give in a text, it will share the information in text. But it could be in different formats as well, which is text to image, which wherein you put in like, hey, this is what I want to see, or I want to see an image of a fundus with cotton wool spots. I want to see a fundus image with hemorrhages. It will generate an image and it will send it back to you. So you put in a text, it will give you an image. So there are different formats of these generative AI tools as well, and you can use it. Please use it with a lot of caution and responsibility, but you can use it for learning, for training the patient, for patient education, for creating material that can help educate the patient, and give them more information the way you want them to consume versus they going to Chat GPT or they going to Google. You can actually control the narrative and you can actually make your life easy and quick as well, but making sure that you decide what is correct because you are the certified clinician. And also invest in tool that can help with patient engagement, and that, by that I mean, it could be these virtual assistants, it could be some tools that will also help you understand the trends that are happening in the patient care, so that the say currently say myopia is at the peak, for example, and you want to understand what is the patient sentiment about it. You can invest or help train these AI models by giving more data of what your patient feels, by collecting information from them, by collecting feedbacks and surveys at the end of every visit, and it can help you better educate your patients, or it can help you better treat your patients. So collecting some feedbacks and survey could also be a great way of training these AI models, because as soon as you provide these datas and in surveys, it can immediately analyze. So you don't, if say you are lazy like many of us, including myself, that you might feel like, oh, analytics will take time. I love collecting data, but analytics can be stressful, or I'm not very good at it. Then probably you can use these AI tools to give you like quick predictions, quick analysis, and it can be used for patient education on various conditions and so much more to talk to. So this is something which I feel is really important, though we did talk about all the good part about it, but it's very important for you to understand what are the advantages of AI and what are the challenges of AI. So of course, the advantages are it enhances diagnostic accuracy, just because you always have constantly someone to assist you and give you like more predictive data as well, give you more personalized data. It can be very, very efficient with data analysis, but please be mindful, it constantly learns from the data. So it has to have very good quality data for good quality results. You can't assume it to have its own brain. So you have to give good quality data to get effective and efficient analysis. You can do personalized treatment plans, which is currently a huge focus in the healthcare industry. Improve patient care and experience, because now you don't have those, dry cut same message that goes to the patient. It could be more personalized. It could have like more personalized reminders. It could be also for giving them, monitoring them remotely through wearable devices. So there could be more personalized care, and that way it can be better experience and better outcome in patients' treatment and conditions. It can add or enhance your remote monitoring and telemedicine. It can do wonders in drug discovery and development, because based on all the data that is available, AI can run algorithms and do data analysis at a much faster pace than what we could do. Thus, it helps in making sure that the drug discovery or the development process can be expedited. It can give you predictive analytics so that it can help with early intervention, just like the diabetic retinopathy screening programs or AMD screening programs, right? Where you do a scan and you predict what are the likelihood of a patient getting eye conditions, not just diabetic retinopathy related, but I use that because that part of technology is very much evolved, while others are still evolving. But it helps with early intervention. It can help with operational efficiency, as I mentioned in documentation piece of it, right? If AI can take the notes and complete your basic draft of all the patient summary, it can just make your life and your operational processes much efficient. Definitely can help you with cost reduction, and it is a continuous learning and improvement process. So you can actually train it. It's like your assistant, which you can train, evolve, and make it work for you. But now you also have to understand these challenges. Though we love all the good part of AI, there is a lot of thing which is still a black hole in the case of AI. The first and the most important thing is lack of data standardization and quality. And this pertains very big challenge, especially in countries where we don't digitally document it. Usually, digital documentation will have a certain format. If you don't have, first of all, digital data, you don't have any way to run these AI tools or predictions and analysis and anything, right? And there's no standardization. I could be writing three things and documenting two. I could just be documenting certain limited stuff, but if it is a more standard process that is followed, it can have better quality of information and better quality of analysis. AI algorithms potentially do have biases. So as I mentioned, it does not have brain of its own. So even in terms of research, when I say, you know what, it can analyze 300 literature of research literature, and it can give you a summary of what they are saying. But say out of 300, if there are 200 talking about one thing and there are only 100 talking about the other condition, it does not have a brain to kind of analyze it. It will have like a more biased approach to what is being fed to the AI more. And that's why your results or your analysis or its response can be skewed and biased. So be mindful, don't take the word for it. And the other big thing is you don't know or you don't have the reference for it. When I say reference is it will show you, hey, this is what the study is saying, but which study, where, how. Sometimes you might not know where that information is coming from, so there is no reference for you to go back and check. It could be something just said by me or by your friend, and AI will start telling, hey, this is the truth. So please be mindful of what information you consume every time you kind of um, use it or take anything from through AI. Of course, there are security and privacy concerns. That's why most of these programs are paid, because they need to follow strict security and privacy laws, especially if it comes to healthcare. Initially, the costs and implementation can be high, also because these are learning models. It needs a lot of data and a lot of collaborations. So yes, it does have initial high cost challenges, and it a lack of human oversight can lead to errors, which is very, very important, and I can't emphasize it on enough. Just don't blindly trust what AI is saying and not use your own clinical expertise. You definitely have to oversee what it is saying, because there is something known as hallucination in AI. What basically it does is, say if you give them three things and it is aware about five things, right? For your particular patient, they just have three symptoms, but AI is aware about five other symptoms as well for that particular condition. When it will respond back, it might also add its own masala or its own flavor to it. Like, hey, these are the three things, but it can also show this, it can also be that. So it can add things which were not shared by you, and that can be errorful when it comes to like communicating it with the patient. So be mindful and oversee everything that comes through AI. Of course, there could be a potential job displacement, but it will be more of a shift versus like, replacing. And that's why I've used the word or term displacement versus replacement. So don't worry about it, but you need to start actively looking into, how you can make the most of it. There are definitely regulatory and legal challenges. And one big thing is, as you're aware, uh, photographs or like documentations, like medical documentations, are used in several legal situations. But with AI, you can actually manipulate these documents. You can actually, as I mentioned, right, you can say something, you can turn an image from text to image, or it can generate image. And it is hard sometimes uh, to assess between a real image and an AI generated image, because the quality of images are getting better each day. So it is definitely facing a lot of regulatory and legal challenges at this point. There are interoperability issues, meaning what AI you are using versus what AI I am using. If they don't communicate correctly, the accuracy can be all over the place. Similarly, as specifically in eye care, the fundus cameras that we use is very important when they're doing any predictive analysis. Yeah, and there could be over reliance on AI. We start depending so much on AI that we forget learning and making sure our basics are clear. So please make sure that you still need to learn, still need to know what you're doing, and you still need to know what is right and wrong. You can't just blindly rely on AI. So with that, this is my favorite slide, which I talk about it in all my presentations. That I actually feel that we need to be in the forefront of all this evolving technology, and instead of just thinking about like um, running a practice, but you can all, instead of being like more of an assistant in some practice, I want everybody to be more of a CEO, where CEO could be building a company which is making these AI and latest technology. We want companies like Google, Apple, Facebook to start hiring chief optometric officers, because we can help them better understand what eye scans can help predict and analyze. So we need to be part of these different technology evolution, just so that we can share the knowledge and the training that we have gathered over the year. So let's start being at the forefront, whether you are a low vision specialist, but start making sure that you know how you can also add AI to it or technology to it. If you're a vision therapy specialist, again, how can you be also eye care as well as tech specialist? Because without eye care and technology, we'll only be able to grow so much. But healthcare is constantly growing at 10x rate. So let's start being at the forefront of it and create all these different roles which are more focused on we pushing the boundaries in eye care and in along with the technology, not just following it but leading it. And I would want you all to kind of check it out yourself. There is something, the symptom checker that I was mentioning and talking about. There is this company called WebMD, which already has this AI assistive tool. You can just go online at WebMD and click on symptom checker. You can put in what you feel. It will constantly ask you questions, and it will give you like predictions of what your top 3 conditions are. So it's a very cool tool. It is just available online. Just go check it out. Another good book to understand how AI is evolving in medicine is this. Recently, the book I read is AI Revolution Medicine with ChatGPT 4 and Beyond. Definitely do check it out. It is available on Amazon as well and Kindle. It will talk about funny conversations in healthcare, which they have kind of tried and talked about, and also highlights and points out the challenges. And it would also tell you how it was in the older generation versus now. So you also have a complete picture of the evolving trends in healthcare of these AI tools. And another reference of that image that I shared earlier, which talks about bioaid, is through a company called Toku Eyes. You can check them out as well. Uh, and with that, thank you.
Thank you, Ukti, for that comprehensive presentation. I think the WebMD is something which everybody could explore. I've tried to
Yes.
explore it, and it does give a good uh, clinic. It does reach to a good clinical diagnosis, definitely. But you need to be mindful, as you have been mentioning throughout the presentation, that clinical decision is something which a clinician should make. This is just something which assists you in making the decision. So that's something which we should always keep in mind, right?
Yeah, one quick thing. So if you go to like WebMD, this
Yeah.
is where you find symptom checker. So this is a box. And as you can see, it literally will tell you like information. It will start collecting your information, your symptoms. It will have questions, conditions, details, and treatment. Like it will literally walk you through the whole thing. And it is a fun tool just to explore if you just want to kind of play around with it and see how they're using AI. So if you go to WebMD, just go to symptom checker and play around with it.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, Ukti, for that, for sharing that tool as well, and using the paid version versus the free version. And I think you did talk a little bit about that, but you want to just kind of highlight on that aspect as well. Paid version
Yeah.
versus the free version. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can definitely use free version if you have never tried or used it, right? Just for fun. Like if you're just trying to kind of say, hey, can you make this sound better? Or can you make this more professional? Can you make it more user friendly? Something which is not like helping you make clinical decisions, or it's not going to impact your treatment plan. You can use free versions of it as well, because half of the people or the attendees have not used it. So yes, start with the free version. But when you're using it for research purposes, for academic purposes, that's where or for your practice, that's where you should try to focus on paid tools, because paid tools are more consciously developed technology, and they will have a certain rate of accuracy in the predictions, in their responses, in their analytics. See, the free version is basically just to gather more and more data, right? Everybody will hop on a free ride. But when it comes to a paid version, there'll be only people who are actually working on creating those models, who actually are going to use it in a more mindful way. So the data collection will be much better. There'll be more filtration, there'll be more processes which will be in place to make sure that the responses are more accurate versus the one on the free version of it. So that's why I would say, based on your use case, there is no harm in using the free version for sure. But depending on your use case, see where you want to go, but try to use paid version just to kind of help, uh, you know, make the most of it.
Yeah, and you will have the more recent updates when it comes to the paid version,
Yes,
as you said.
yes,
So you have the
absolutely.
more
You'll have
current
more tools. You
information,
will have
right?
more. Yes, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Somebody does mention on the chat that they have seen AI in myopia prediction models and based on fundus images as well. So yeah, that's
Yes,
taking up a lot of all of these big players are moving into that anyways, right?
yes. Actually, Meta, I think, recently announced how. So now Meta and Ray-Ban already has this tie-up, right? We are all aware about the Ray-Ban stories, but now they, with this whole thing, like they're constantly now going to be collecting. You can do like live streaming, you can collect all that data through Ray-Ban stories. You can go live, you don't have, it's going to be like more like touch free kind of a thing, based on the controls on the frame. And then that will move into like, analyzing of where the consumer is, what are their likes, what are their dislikes, who all are joining them, who all are viewing them on Facebook. So it is actually using that one frame as an eye to see what the consumer is seeing, what they are consuming, and then it will be used in predicting like their likes, their dislikes, their lifestyle. So there's so much more that is happening in this space, and Like Meta has announced it in a way that, hey, you can do all these things, you can do live stream, but you also need to understand it is collecting data, and then it will probably sell you things in a much better way. It will tell you what you like, what you don't like, and what you're not feeling well, do this, so the more technology that is out there, the more data is being collected for all these data models.
Right. And I think you did also mention that let's take an example of the very commonly used one, the chat GPT is what is used. It usually gives us the text. For example, I think you did mention about diabetic retinopathy, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. So it will give us the text. But are you aware of some AI tools where we can probably upload images and they can tell us what's the diagnosis based on the fundus image? Is there any tool available at this point in time?
Yeah, I haven't tried it, but I know there are definitely tools available, and they are called image to text. So, like as I had mentioned, right? So, Chat GPT is text to text, but when we talk about images and you want to understand, like, do analysis of it, so there are not free tools available, but there are definitely tools, like paid versions of tools available, where you put in an image and it can tell you what grading of diabetes is it. For
Yeah.
example, just for diabetes, I'm saying what level of diabetes the patient is going through. It can also highlight or predict the risk of getting it worse. It also highlights um, hemorrhages, drusen's. It will also highlight like any of those changes and tell you what the grading would be. So yes, that is available, but I think there are paid tools. I don't know any free tools that are available.
Yeah, that's right. I think I also have seen such tools where you upload the image and the AI not only picks up those spots. We are talking about
Yes,
fundus image, so it picks up those spots and also grades it according to the
yes.
standard grading system, the ICD disease classification, and things like that.
Yes, it
And
definitely does. So, of course, TokuWise does it. So, BioAge is one part of their analysis. TokuWise also does like the diabetic retinopathy screening. But there's another company called I'm blanking out the name right now. I think it's called Diagnose. Uh, that NOS, that not SE, Diagnose, that's where it ends. They also do like predictive analysis. Just you upload an image and it will tell you the grading along with highlighting all the areas of areas that needs to be reviewed and assessed. So yes, those tools are definitely available, and it has been
explore,
ex-
yeah.
explored. Yeah, oh, it's not just explore, it is exploding, because now diabetes is taken care, but now they're also moving into other spaces like glaucoma and AMD.
Correct. Yeah. And I think the instrument itself, some of the companies have the instruments which come with artificial intelligence built in their software as well. So
Yes,
nowadays you have options where you purchase an instrument, you can get it
yes,
with the software with AI assisted system versus a just normal software where you click in and you see, you zoom in and get your diagnosis. But I think there are instruments which are available, right, which comes in with AI.
absolutely. And talking about AI, right? I know we're focused on uh, diabetes and fundus image, but the other part is also predictive analysis, which is
Mhm.
also being used a lot, specifically in the space of myopia and myopia management. So now there are many topography where once they take the images, right, it can give you like the prediction of how it is going to get worse. So it can give you like predictive analysis after a couple of scans and help you manipulate the treatment and help you monitor the treatment more closely, so you can make sure that the changes in myopia are more controlled, and you can have more
Better
personalized treatment plan
outcomes.
for that patient. Yeah. So not just in diabetes, and it doesn't have to be always image, it can also be numeric data. So the other part of AI is it can do text to text, it can do text to image, it can also do number to number. So when we do scans, right, it is all a numeric data that goes in, and then it will come back as a numeric data, which gives you a predictive chart and analytics of what the changes could look like for that patient in terms of myopia management.
Wonderful. Great. So I think with that, we have kind of discussed most of the questions which I see on the chat. Thank you so much, Ukti, for spending that Sunday morning, despite of you being under the weather. Thank you for taking out time and sharing this topic with us. And I think the most important thing, if you are a podcast fan or if you're not a podcast fan, I think you should do follow Nerdy Optometrist. That's how we know Ukti as, where she interviews, she discusses with optometrists globally, and I think she has near about 60 episodes. She has interviewed almost over 60 people where you can learn from their views across the globe what's happening in the field of eye care. So thank you so much, Ukti, for spending that Sunday morning with us today.
Always a pleasure to be here, Fakhruddin. Thank you once again for this opportunity, and thank you everyone for joining and for spending this time with me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. We do have session plans over the next couple of weekends. Until then, take care, be safe, and I hope to see you during the next session. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.